Alright, here we are at the second battle against the Sectorian frigate. It's the commander level, level 2, and we're going to roll to see where that frigate's going to start. I rolled a 1, so its ship token will be placed here on this map, and then we're going to kick it off with the player's roll for his command icon. I received a 4, so just going to move my command cube ahead 4 dots. And looks like I've got my preferred starting of movement and shooting. However, I'm thinking about the next fight against a overlord and that I might want some resources. So I'm going to work my way in the direction of that, perhaps some fuel. And let's see, I do have 1 fuel, so I'm going to use 1 liquifuel, which you can spend as much as you have available, to move a space per fuel spent. And now that means that I can actually utilize this second icon to gather, and that's going to pick me up 2 fuel. And that's because the fuel is located here on this hex. So 1, 2. Net gain of 1. And that ends my turn. The Sectorian frigate rolls a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And okay, so a little bit of risk for me, as the first icon that's going to resolve is the warp attack. So rolling 2 dice and hoping he doesn't get a 7, which of course is pretty good odds. But he rolls a 3 and jumps here. Next icon is removing of any targeting locks that I've applied to his ship, which there are none. And then his ship is going to make a normal move, which is going to move him into the asteroid field. He, again, will always try to move closer to my ship as a priority, and as the second priority, he always wants to be higher than my ship. So in this case, he moves to the hex number 4, not hex number 1. And that ends the enemy's turn, so back over to me. Alright, so 2 dots, 1, 2. Still gives me the option to gather, which is pretty valuable at this stage. So considering I'm not feeling in too much danger, I am going to gather 2 more fuel. And then I will improve my position by moving 1. And just so he can't steal position above me, I'm going to spend 1 fuel to move up here. And that way, even if I get back around, I could gather some pluranium, which couldn't hurt. But just to block him from getting above me and getting that advantage. And if I get to attack on a future turn, I'll have a +1 to my roll. Alright, so having completed 2 icons on my track, my turn is done. The enemy rolls a 5. 5 dots looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we wrap around to look at the next 2 spaces. He does have a torpedo attack and a lock. So I believe in one... it might be that the lock gets placed first. No, it is left to right. So first is the torpedo attack, which allows you to roll 3 dice. In this case, the enemy's going to roll 3 dice and add the 2 highest dice together. So he's got pretty good odds of hitting me, given our proximity to each other. And unfortunately, that's going to do extra damage to me. Oh, wow. Okay, so he rolled these 3 dice, and you always take the 2 highest because he rolled a critical success. That's a +1 damage, so I'm in a bad way right now. The damage of any torpedo starts out at 2. And because he rolled a critical success, I take a 3rd point of damage. I have dropped down to 4. And follow that up, just add insult to injury. He applies a lock to my ship. So he will have an extra die for his attacks, and he will still only pick the 2 highest, but in the case of a energy attack, he'll roll 3 dice, and in case of a torpedo attack, he'll roll 4 dice. So it's not looking good if I don't get rid of that lock. So I'll want to take a clear locks action whenever that comes around for me. Alright, so good turn for the bad guy, bad turn for me. Moving on to my turn. I roll a 3. 1, 2, 3. Alright, looking ahead, I have some pretty good options here. My heavy cannon always has the option where I can spend heat to increase my energy attacks. I know it says laser attack, but that's a typo. Energy attacks by 1 damage. So from my position, I already have a +1 on the map when attacking him. However, he is in the asteroids, and when you target a ship in asteroids, you have to subtract 2 from the attacker's result. So that's a little bit challenging. It would be great to cause him to stall and push out of that space. So I think I'm going to spend a heat to push my cube back. Now I have 2 attacks as options. I can do them both. First, I'll use the Daredevil attack, which has the resulting stall. A stall of 1. If the attack succeeds, will force my opponent to move to a lower hex and get out of those asteroids. And so to determine the target number, he is 1 space away. He has a maneuver of 5, so I'm looking for a 6 or higher. Just got it with a 7. So let's deal him the point of damage so we don't forget about that. I could actually spend a heat to increase that point of damage, and you know what, why not? So because of my laser heavy cannons, any energy attack, including the one shown here in my special ability, can be boosted for an extra point of damage. And it's only the next laser attack, so it won't last for my next attack. So my normal 1 point of damage becomes 2. So he goes 1, 2. And then the stall kicks in. The stall says he has to move to a lower space of my choice, and if he couldn't, he'd take another point of damage, but he can move to a lower space. So I will move him here, and now I get to trigger my second icon, which is a normal energy attack. I don't have any more heat left, so I can't finish him off with a increase of heat to make the damage 2, but I could always hope for double 6s. I don't have a lock on him, so I'm only rolling 2 dice, and I am hoping for a 1, 2 spaces away +5. I'm hoping for a 7 or greater. Nope, didn't do it. So a 5 is a miss, and that's going to end my turn. Back over to the bad guy. He gets a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So almost all the way back around, and he does get back around to his special. So he is going to roll 2 dice and attempt a warp attack. And he rolls a 10, which shoots him over here. He clears any locks, and he makes a move. Considering both of these spaces are valid spaces to get closer to my ship, but one gets him into a higher space, he will choose the mine hex and take a risk. So for mines, we roll a die, and it says that a ship that moves to this space will lose 1 hull on a result of 1 through 4. He rolled a 2, so he's actually caused himself 1 point of damage by moving into the minefield, but has improved his strategic position. Alright, so back over to the player's turn. On a 5, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that gets me into my perfect 2 damage heavy cannon attack. And if I look to wrap around, I also have the option to lower my heat or trigger a special effect. I don't currently have anything that needs this pentagram special effect icon, so it makes sense for me to use the heat drop, and then I'm going to just go for the kill here. At 1 space away, I'm looking for a 6 or greater, and the 2 damage will be more than enough to take him out. And that finishes off our friend the Sectorian frigate. So I've won my second battle. Important to note that at the end of battle you always reduce your heat back to the leftmost space. Same with your command cube. You do not change your hull. So this first round of damage that I've received this game is going to stick with me. I have been forgetting to use my crew, So, you know, if I was paying a little bit more attention, I probably would have utilized this guy at least once, if not twice, which would have brought me up to 6 hull, because I would be able to ready him after that. Well, actually, this cube hadn't moved ahead yet, so I only would have got 1 hull back. So let's say I'm at 5, and we finished off this guy here, and that ends the second battle.